The lunatics have taken over the insane asylum. How do we stop it? All that and more now on Graph's Grievances. It's known as the People's House, but why does it seem like the U.S. House of Representatives is filled with so many extreme members? First, the good news. The insanity you see in Congress is not a reflection of the American people. Americans, by and large, are not extreme partisans who hate each other's guts. Rather, our congressional districts have been drawn to result in the most radical members of our society getting elected to Congress. Through extreme gerrymandering, politicians on the left and the right draw district boundaries to maximize their ability to win. This intentional manipulation of congressional maps resulting in districts that are overwhelmingly filled with Democrats or Republicans. As a result, the politicians who represent these partisan districts have no incentive to compromise or moderate their policy positions. There is, however, an obvious solution to this problem: allowing independent commissions to draw congressional maps that are not gerrymandered to favor one party or the other. But, as you imagine, politicians on the left and the right are not usually in favor of such a move because independently drawn maps with greater ideological balance make it harder for them to win re-election. So why not just go around the politicians, you may ask? Well, that has proven to be very challenging. Extreme partisans, who are the most politically engaged Americans, are also generally against independently drawn maps. And that is because such moderate maps diminish their power and influence. However, despite these obstacles, 8 states have now given independent commissions the authority to draw congressional lines, including in Arizona, California, Colorado, Idaho, Michigan, Montana, New York, and Washington. But there is also another, far less discussed, way to diminish the power of radical members of Congress. And that is by increasing the size of the U.S. House of Representatives. The People's House was always intended to grow with the size of the country. That is how the framers of the Constitution envisioned it, believing that good governance required representatives to meaningfully know their constituents. And for decades, the size of the House grew with the nation, from 65 members in 1790 to 435 members by 1913. But then, Congress abruptly decided to cap the size of the House, voting in 1929 to permanently stop its expansion and keep its number of representatives at 435. The impact of such an undemocratic move: the number of constituents represented by each congressperson has increased exponentially over the past 90-plus years. In 1929, each member of Congress represented around 200,000 people. Today, more than 750,000 people are represented by each member of Congress. And as America's population continues to grow, by 2050, each House member is expected to represent 1 million people. This growing imbalance not only at odds with what America's founding fathers intended, but making it increasingly difficult for Congresspeople to be responsive to the will of voters. When citizens do not believe their representatives are listening to them, they disengage from politics and become disenchanted with democracy. America desperately needs a more representative House, where each member of Congress represents fewer people. Decreasing the population of each congressional district could also increase the number of competitive districts and reduce the influence of radical House members. In addition, having districts with smaller populations could also increase the demographic and economic diversity of the House because it would be less expensive to run for office. America needs a House worthy of its people. And while it might sound counterintuitive, increasing the size of the House of Representatives could be one way to bring about much needed reform. Thank you for watching Graph's Grievances. Let me know what you think. Please subscribe and join me tomorrow for more.